Now let's come to our next subtopic. So our next subtopic is land use pattern in India. It means that what is the pattern of land use, how land is used in India. So children, the land use pattern, it is basically determined by two factors. The two factors are physical factors and the second one is human factors. So physical factors, it includes climate, topography, soil type, etc. And the human factors, it includes population, density, technological capacity and culture and tradition. These are the things that are included in physical factors and human factors. Now children, do you know what is the total geographical area of India? You have already studied this in class 9th geography. So the total geographical area of India is 3.28 million square kilometers. But let me tell you one thing. This is only 93% of the total geographical area. Now you must be thinking that how it is 93 or where is the rest 7%? You must be wondering. Yes, and why it is only 93? Children, it is only 93%, not the total 100%, because we don't have the data of certain areas. There are certain areas of which we are not having the proper data, like the Pakistan occupied Kashmir, then parts of China. Of these places we don't have proper data. Proper surveys have not been conducted in these areas. That is why we do not have that 100% data. So 3.28 million square kilometers is basically 93% of the total geographical area, and this data only we have with us. Now children, we will be comparing the land use pattern of 2 years. First is 1960-61 and the second is 2014-15. We will be comparing the land use pattern. So first is forest. As I told you that in every country forest is there. So if I talk about forest, then in 1960-61 the forest area was 18.11%, and in 2014-15 it increased to 23.3%. This is a good indicator that forest area has been increased. Second, we have barren and uncultivated wasteland. Children, in 1960-61 the percentage was 18.11%, and in 2014-15 it decreased to 5.5%, which is also a good indicator that barren or wasteland, that uncultivated land, it has decreased. Third, we have area under non-agricultural use, means the area that we cannot use for agriculture purpose. So in 1960-61 it was 4.95%, and in 2014-15 it increased to 8.7%. Next, we have permanent pasture and grazing land. So in 1960-61 the percent of permanent pasture and grazing land was 4.71%, and in 2014-15 it decreased to 3.3%. Next, we have area under miscellaneous tree crops and groves. So in 1960-61 the percentage was 1.5%, and in 2014-15 it reduced to 1%. Next, we have cultivable wasteland. So in 1960-61 the percentage was 6.23%, which decreased to 4% in 2014-15. Next, we have fallow other than current fallow. So the percent was 3.5% in 1960-61, which increased to 3.6% in 2014-15. Next, we have current fallow. So the current fallow was 3.73% in 1960-61, and which increased to 4.9% in 2014-15. The last, we have net sown area. Children, it was 46.26% in 1960-61, which reduced to 45.5% in 2014 15. So this was a comparison. We have compared the data of 2 years, that what was the land use pattern in 1960-61 and what was in 2014-15. Now children, I have a question for you, that the land under permanent pasture, it has decreased. So what is the reasons? What is the reason behind this? Are the cattle eating less? Is it so? No, it is not so. That cattle are not eating less, or it's not that they are not given proper food. It's because of another alternatives. Means different alternative sources have emerged. They have developed, and from the from the remains of crops, due to technical advancements, food can be prepared. Also, bajra, jowar, they are used as fodder for animals, and that is the reason why the land under permanent pasture, it has decreased in 2014-15, and it is not like animals are eating less or they are not given food sufficiently. And also several other conclusions can be drawn from the data of 2 years about the land use pattern in 2 years. Like most of the other land other than the current fallow land, they are either of poor quality, or the cost of cultivation of such land, it is very high. Also children, the pattern of net sown area, it varies greatly from one state to another. Like in 1960-61, it was 46.26%, which decreased to 45.5% in 2014-15. What is the reason why it has decreased? So children, the question is that why there is so much variation from one state to another. Like it is over 80% of the total area in Punjab and Haryana, and it is less than 10% in Arunachal Pradesh, Mizoram, Manipur, Andaman and Nicobar Islands. So what is the reason of such variation, that in some states it is very high and in some states it is very low? Children, the reason is physical factors. That means because of the topography of such area, because the topography of such area, they are completely different. If we talk about Arunachal Pradesh or Mizoram, it is there are basically mountains, hills, and if we talk about Punjab and Haryana, we have plains. The land is basically plain lands. So this is the reason, this is the basic reason for variation in different states. Now children, we will talk about the forest area. Students, the forest area according to the National Forest Policy 1952, it should be 33% of the geographical area. Means if 100% is the geographical area, then 33% from that 100%, that should be reserved for the forest according to National Forest Policy 1952. And 33% is reserved for forest, but we are having right now only 23%, which is far lower than the desired percentage according to the National Forest Policy. Now the question is that why the National Forest Policy has considered or taken the benchmark as 33%. Why it is compulsory? Why not 22% or 44%? Why only 33% is important? So children, there are several reasons why 33% is compulsory, why 33% is the benchmark. Like it is essential for the maintenance of ecological balance. It is very important to maintain a proper ecological balance. If forests will not be there, or it will be very less, then what will happen? Trees will not be there. If trees will not be there, then proper oxygen level will not be there. If trees will not be there, then it will not attract the rain. So there are several reasons, and it is very important to maintain the ecological balance. That is why 33% is considered as the standard or the benchmark. Also children, the livelihood of millions of people who live on the fringes of the forest depend upon it. There are several people, and not only the people, the animals, the birds, the complete wildlife that is dependent on the forest. That is why it is very important to save forest, or to have certain percentage of it. A proper share has to be given to the forest. Like if I talk about the human beings, the tribals, they are dependent on forest. They are living in the forest. Their complete life is dependent on the forest. So that is why it is very important to have a good share of forest. Also children, wasteland. Let me talk about wasteland. Wasteland, what is this? The wasteland, it includes the rocky, arid or deserted areas and land put to other non-agricultural uses. It includes settlements, roads, railways, industry and all the construction areas where the construction has been done. So that area is considered as wasteland. So this was all about the land use pattern of India.